Right now, on to the point. A vital education program on the chopping block.
A program benefiting more than 2,000 public school students every year is at risk of losing funding from Sacramento County. Coming up, the fight to save it.
Charlie Kirk's accused killer in court for the first time and facing multiple charges.
I am filing a notice of intent to seek the death penalty.
TikTok is still up and running in the U.S. President Trump's move to keep it going for now. And the holiday shopping season is right around the corner. Why consumers plan to pull back on spending. Thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. Well, tonight, a public program serving students and the community is at risk of getting defunded. And the big reason is a declining number of cable TV subscriptions. ABC 10's Becca Habegger joins us now in studio to break down all the details.
Yeah, you know, Alex, a small portion of every cable subscriber's bill is something called a public educational and governmental fee. Well, that money supports local public access channels and related infrastructure, but with more and more people cutting the cord, so to speak, that means fewer of those dollars and therefore tough decisions for county leaders.
So maybe I'll zoom in on this and make it look cool. There you go.
All across Sacramento County, more than 2,000 public school students per year get hands-on experience with operating cameras and training in video editing through a program called the Sacramento Educational Video Awards, or SEVA, which is now in its 37th school year.
And then we also have this little studio over here.
Aaron Heinrich is executive director of the Sacramento Educational Cable Consortium, or SECC, which runs SEVA and provides educational programming on public access channels, including high school graduations.
So if we lose funding, all of that goes away.
On Friday, Heinrich says his office learned the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission, which allocates county funding for SECC, plans on ramping down that funding this fiscal year, ending funding the next, starting in July. The commission's vote on this is Wednesday.
Kids will probably not have access to the same media education, could be as soon as next year. There will be no opportunity for the school districts to have this kind of programming available out in the community.
Plus, the 7 people in his office could lose their jobs, Heinrich says, and about 20 others at Access Sacramento, another so-called channel licensee that stands to lose funding.
Folks are cutting the cord more than ever before and switching to, Netflix, Hulu, streaming platforms.
Cable Commission Chair Ryan Brown says county funding for not only the channel licensees, but also the entire commission comes exclusively from cable subscriber fees.
Since 2018, we've seen between a 10 to even a 25% decrease year over year in our franchise fees.
He says the Cable Commission has been talking for at least 5 years about how dwindling cable revenue may mean difficult cuts at some point. The commission is cutting a third of its own staff as it proposes cuts to channel licensees.
We deeply respect and love the work of our licensees, and especially folks like Access and SECC. The work that they're doing is incredibly meaningful, and we know the value that it brings to the community and to schools and individuals across the area.
They say SECC and Access Sacramento are free to pursue other funding sources to stay operational. It just won't come from the county anymore if commissioners approve the budget changes on Wednesday. In the meantime, program supporters are fighting for funding. Nick Conklin works at SECC as a videographer and technology specialist and was once a SEVA student himself.
The SEVA program led me to my career, and my teachers are what influenced me and helped me, get to where I am today.
And I am so proud to say that Nick Conklin works for SECC, and he was one of my students here at Franklin High School.
Don Williams is the advanced broadcasting teacher at Elk Grove's Franklin High School, one of the 110 teachers across Sacramento County's various school districts who run a SEVA program. She put together a video asking the Cable Commission to keep funding SECC.
This program is about so much more than learning how to use a camera or edit videos. It's about student voice. Through storytelling, we get to share our experiences, amplifying issues that matter to us, speak up for those who can't.
Now, KVIE, Sacramento's PBS station, also stands to lose county funding, though the impact is not expected to be as significant as the impact to SECC and Access Sacramento. Still, its president and general manager tells me he'd like to see the commission pause on tomorrow's cost-cutting decision to implement a more balanced policy. By the way, this funding decision will not impact the broadcast of government meetings. Those are done through Metro Cable 14, whose county funding is not imminently at stake. Alex.
All right, Becca, thank you so much for bringing us that story tonight. Well, the city of Sacramento is moving ahead with plans to open 4 new housing sites for homeless people, including a tiny home community for seniors in North Natomas that is drawing pushback from a lot of neighbors. City officials said that the site was chosen because it is zoned for housing and it sits on a vacant lot. So tonight, the city council is voting on whether to charge people who want to stay past the 90-day grace period 30% of their income per month. Tonight's meeting is also when we're expecting to find out the locations of the 3 other new sites. And earlier today, the city council passed an ordinance on so-called cannabis lounges. The vote was 5-4. The program establishes 2 types of lounges, one which allows non-smoking consumption, such as edibles, and another which allows vaping or smoking. Only permitted storefront dispensaries could be eligible to operate these lounges. Governor Gavin Newsom today announced a program aimed to provide a sense of community and service for young men and boys. It's called the California Men's Service Challenge, and it calls on 10,000 men to step up as mentors, coaches, and tutors. The hope is that the program will help address rising suicide rates and feelings of disconnection for young men.
Currently, right now, 1 out of every 3 young people are growing up without a caring adult or person that they can call a mentor. What we know on the other side of that is that a young person that is mentored will most likely succeed in school.
The program builds on the California State Service Corps, which brings on residents to help with disaster relief, conservation projects, and much more. The state is partnering with other organizations like Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Mentor California, and the YMCA of Metropolitan Los Angeles to help coordinate volunteers. And the suspect accused of assassinating political activist Charlie Kirk made his first court appearance today. The Utah County attorney also held a press conference announcing official charges against him. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has more from the courthouse in Provo, Utah tonight.
22-year-old Tyler Robinson making his first appearance virtually in a Utah court today after being officially charged in the deadly shooting of political activist Charlie Kirk. Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray announcing the charges today.
I am filing a notice of intent to seek the death penalty.
Robinson facing 7 counts, including aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, and obstruction of justice, witness tampering, and committing a violent offense in the presence of a child. Kirk was hit by a single gunshot while speaking on the campus of Utah Valley University last week.
After shooting Mr. Kirk, Robinson hid the gun, discarded the clothing he wore when he fired the rifle, and told his roommate to delete incriminating text messages and not talk to police.
But officials say the roommate is cooperating and shared messages between the two after the shooting. Officials say Robinson pointed the roommate to a note left behind.
The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it."
Officials say over text messages, Robinson telling the roommate he needed to go back to get the rifle, then texting, "To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you." The roommate asking, "Why did you do it?" Robinson texting, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out." The Utah County attorney also revealing new information about what Robinson's family has told investigators.
As they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the guy, referring to Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate.
No one else has been charged in the shooting, but investigators are still interviewing friends and family of the suspect to find out how and why this happened. Coming up later on To the Point, the Menendez brothers face another legal setback, a judge closing off yet another road to freedom after more than 3 decades behind bars. And holiday shopping season is near, but a weakening economy could put a dent in spending, with retailers paying the price.
It certainly doesn't feel like the holiday season. Another day of moderate heat risk for tomorrow. Highs near 100 before big changes, showers and thunderstorms return.
But first, another headlines tonight. Sacramento City Council member Mai Vang announced today that she's running for Congress. Right now, Vang represents Sacramento's District 8. which covers the southern part of the city. Vang will run for the Congressional District 7 seat, now held by Democrat Doris Matsui. President Trump today signed an executive order to keep TikTok operating in the U.S., one day after he said he'd reached a framework deal with China to keep it operating. This is the fourth time the deadline's been extended.
Shaw's been planning to beat your game for months. He's just been waiting for you to cheat him.
And tributes are pouring in tonight for actor Robert Redford, who died today at the age of 89. Redford was one of Hollywood's leading men who starred in classics like Butch Cassidy, The Sundance Kid, and The Sting. A family representative said he died at his home in Utah, surrounded by those he loved. Welcome back in. Let's get a check of your forecast. Monica, I thought fall was here. What are you doing?
Ooh, I know. Last week gave us a real nice taste of fall. Clear skies for tonight. Heat risk, though, back for tomorrow. Now, we will start tracking showers and thunderstorms, which will have a little bit more of a fall-like feel. It comes by the end of the week. Highs for today, meantime, close to 100 up and down the valley, 70s for the coast, near 90 for the foothills, and close to 80 up top for the Sierra right now. As we're approaching just about a half hour from sunset, we're still in the 90s for Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, and Marysville, Tahoe at 74 degrees. All right, let's get to those changes. Tomorrow, we're right back to highs close to 100, but during the afternoon, we'll start to see more clouds building as a post-tropical low starts to move our way. So this was once Tropical Storm Mario. It lost its tropical characteristics, but it still has a lot of moisture associated with it as it marches its way northward. So by Thursday night, looking at the chance of showers along the coast and moving its way inland overnight with the chance of thunderstorms, then lingering showers for Friday. As it moves north, we'll start to see the best chance of showers north of I-80 on Saturday. But don't lose your sight on that moisture because it taps into a low pressure system off the coast. We are still dealing with the remnants of that tropical system. Next week kind of opens the door for more systems to move our way, bringing another chance for rain by next Friday. What a start to fall, huh? Highs for tomorrow will be close to 80 up top for the Sierra with 90s to near 100 through the foothills. Along the coast, highs are going to be in the 70s, close to 100 for the capital region after morning lows in the 50s and 60s. It's going to be a warm Wednesday for us. Our highs are going to drop significantly on Friday. Lots of cloud cover. Again, showers and thunderstorms developing overnight Thursday into Friday, lingering for the Sierra potentially through Saturday morning. For the foothills, we'll look at the main focus areas on Thursday and Friday for the chance of those showers and thunderstorms. But again, cooler by the end of the week with a mix of sun and clouds, potentially some showers along the coast. Our extended forecast shows how much we're going to drop those readings from the upper 90s, close to 100 tomorrow, into the 80s with a chance of showers coming our way overnight Thursday through early Friday. Highs only in the low 80s to wrap up the work week with active weather. Dry over the weekend, as well as for the autumnal equinox on Monday, with another chance for showers and thunderstorms arriving next week.
All right, Monica, thank you so much. Coming up onto the point, President Trump is sending federal forces to another city, sparking a new political clash. And credit scores are falling at the fastest rate since the Great Recession. Experts say more borrowers are falling behind, with one age group feeling the biggest squeeze. In his latest effort to crack down on crime in major U.S. cities, President Donald Trump says he will send federal law enforcement to Memphis. This is part of President Trump's broad anti-crime agenda and immigration crackdown. On Monday, he announced that he is taking executive action to establish what he's calling a Memphis Safe Task Force, similar to actions recently taken in the nation's capital. Now, this move leaves the Tennessee city bracing for the arrival of National Guard and personnel from several federal agencies, including the FBI, ICE, and Homeland Security. The move is welcomed by Tennessee's Republican governor.
I'm tired of crime holding the great city of Memphis back.
However, Democratic city leaders in Memphis call the move unnecessary. Trump says he does still plan to send a similar task force to Chicago. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker have accused Trump of stoking fear and have repeatedly pointed to a lack of communication from the administration to their local teams as a major concern. Kyle and Eric Menendez will not get a new trial. A California judge yesterday rejected the request, shutting down another possible path to freedom for the brothers who served decades in prison for the killing of their parents back in 1989. Now, the ruling comes weeks after the brothers were denied parole. Shoppers may be pulling back on holiday spending this year. In its annual Holiday Outlook survey, PricewaterhouseCoopers found seasonal spending could decline on average by 5% compared to last year, and this would be the first notable drop since 2020.
The holiday shopping season is fast approaching. But recent economic data reveals prices are heating up while the labor market is cooling down, a cloudy financial picture that's dampening shopper spirits.
Consumers have been feeling rather subdued about the economy. Their sentiment has been declining over the course of 2025, concurrently with the escalation of tariff rhetoric.
That downturn coming at a crucial time for retailers.
Consumers are going to be heading into the holiday shopping season with a lot of caution.
Accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers forecast American shoppers will pull back on their holiday season spending this year, reversing a trend of year-over-year growth since 2020.
Our survey showed a pullback in spend, 5% year-over-year pullback in holiday spend. It's really Gen Z that's driving the pullback. Gen Z intends to spend 23% less year-over-year.
A slowdown in seasonal spending, according to University of Michigan's Joanne Shu, could be good for people's pocketbooks in the short term, but may have ripple effects across the larger economy.
Consumer spending drives about 70% of aggregate GDP. If large numbers of consumers pull back their spending, that means the businesses that serve those consumers are not going to have so much strength in their revenues and their profits. It's going to weaken business conditions and could lead businesses to contract or even some to fail.
Tomorrow, the Federal Reserve is expected to announce its first interest rate cut since December to support America's slowing labor rate. The announcement will come at the end of the Fed's two-day policy meeting, which started today. It comes with the hopes that President Trump's expansive tariffs might have only a limited impact on inflation. And credit scores, they are falling at the fastest pace since the Great Recession. The national average FICO score dropped by 2 points this year, which is the most since 2009. Credit scores are significantly higher than during the Great Recession, but they are down for the second year in a row. FICO also found a growing share of borrowers are falling behind on car loans, credit cards, and personal loans. Younger Americans are getting hit with a double whammy: high student debt and low entry-level hiring. Well, as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, one Modesto woman is challenging stereotypes in a music genre that's often dominated by men. At the heart of traditional norteño music is the accordion, an instrument historically played by men, but in Modesto, Marlene de Herrera is changing that tune with her accordion in hand. Now, Marlene isn't just carrying on her family's norteño music legacy, she's redefining it by proving that this music tradition can evolve. Now, she grew up watching her father's band, Los Reyes Los Norteña. When the group lost its accordion player, 16-year-old Marlene stepped in and took the stage.
And they compare you to a man, and there shouldn't be a comparison. Rather, this is music, and we should be able to share that no matter what, whether I play more or less. It's universal, and that's what really counts.
Every pump of her 30-pound squeeze box is a reminder that the hard work and determination of her work is really taking center stage. And Marlene is now inspiring young girls to pick up the accordion herself. And if you do want to check out her full story, you can do that right here on To The Point at 6:30. We're back right after this. And one more thing before we go, we wanted to share that today is National Voter Registration Day. So the nonpartisan civic holiday is one of the largest voter registration efforts in the country. It's when thousands of community partners work together to ensure every eligible American has the chance to register and vote. And a reminder that we do have a special election in California on November 4th, where voters will decide on Proposition 50. Now, you have until October 25th to register for that election. Now, you have probably seen many ads for Proposition 50 or gotten mailers or seen the YouTube ads. If you have any questions about Proposition 50, please reach out to our team. This is something we have been covering and we can answer your questions. As always, thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you right back here tomorrow.